तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So again, once again, I beg forgiveness for being extremely late, but hope to serve you now. And welcome you also for today evening session of Bhakti Vaibhav, 4th canto, 21st chapter. We are supposed to discuss 5 to 19 verses. So 5th verse. Please repeat. शंखदुन्दुभि घोषेण ब्रह्मघोषेण च द्विजाम् विवेश भवनं वीरः स्तूयमानो गतस्मयः. Chapter 21st chapter is entitled Instructions by Maharaj Prithu. Morning we already had some introductory speech in which Prithu Maharaj discussion is going on in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. When he entered, you all have seen the photo. When he entered his kingdom, 421.1. Our devotees of ISKCON proper disciples have drawn such wonderful sketches, paintings. So they are worth taking darshan of. So he is entering, and that time what description is going on. When the king entered the palace, conch shells and kettle drums were sounded, priests chanted Vedic mantras, and professional reciters offered different prayers. But in spite of all this ceremony to welcome him, the king was not the least bit affected. So this is a characteristic of a leader. Ideal leader does not get carried away by illusory potential Maya of the Lord in terms of becoming proud. So Prabhupada says in purport, the reception given to the king was full of opulence, yet he did not become proud. Therefore it is said that great personalities of power and opulence never become proud. Example is given, tree which is full of fruits and the flowers does not stand erect in pride, but instead bends downward to show submissiveness. This is a sign of wonderful character of great personalities. So we can speak on this only for next 1 or 2 hours, but we'll avoid that. But basically this is in Chaitanya Bhagavat, before defeating Digvijay Pandit, when informed by his students that a great learned scholar has come who has been conquering all the directions, that means all the scholars in all the directions. He is famous by the name Digvijay Pandit, and a lot of description. To cut it short, Mahaprabhu says, oh, he is very proud. Then just see how Krishna will smash his pride, because Krishna does not like pride in anyone. And then he gives this example. Palavanta vriksha ara gunavanta jan namrata setahara swabhava anukshan. The trees filled with nice ripe fruits and people with nice qualities, good qualities, they always are humble. Namrata, humility is their ongoing characteristic. So pride is sign of ignorance and humility is sign of knowledge. Vidya vinaya sampanne. Vidya dadati vinayam. Vidya vinayena shobhate. Everywhere Vidya is characterized by humility. Amanitvam, adambitvam. There also the first characteristic is humility only. Amanitvam. Amani. Doesn't think himself to be a very great person. Only ignorant people think themselves to be great. And knowledgeable people know Lord to be great. So that's the sign. So here, anyway, Prithu Maharaj is Shaktavish Avatar. He will never fall prey to illusory potency of the Lord. That foolishness thinking I am very great. So that is not good. He doesn't have it. Next. Pujitaha pujayam asa tatra tatra mahayashaha pauranjan padam stam stan pritaha priya varapradaha. Both the important citizens and the common citizens welcomed the king very heartily, and he also bestowed upon them their desired blessings. Prabhupada purport says a responsible king was always approachable by his citizens. This is very important. All of you and me, as leaders in ISKCON, we have to make ourselves approachable by all. Sometimes it's understood very big gurus, sannyasis in ISKCON who have a lot of following and followers. So they may not be able to have that, but they will have at least senior devotees appointed. So it is a duty of the senior devotees of catering to the needs of the local devotees. Everybody should be heard. There should be, every follower has to be heard. Doesn't mean that he should keep speaking. He should be trained also how he should hear superiors. But also they have to be heard also, because there are so many difficulties they face, and many times they feel the seniors are not approachable. Gurus are anyway traveling all over the world, but at least seniors should be available. One person committed a suicide in ocean in Jagannath Puri, saying that I am not getting attention of Asini Brahmachari. He jumped in the ocean. By Krishna's grace, the waves threw him on the shore. Poor fellow did not die. Yeah, it's true story. I know him personally. So we should not allow that. Earlier kings would have the bell ringing, bell hanging, and anybody had any complaint or anything to say, he could ring it, and he would be called inside by the king himself. Even to the extent it is said the cows and all, any animal also were heard. So at least we should hear human beings, at least devotees in our own community. So it is your duty that you hear everyone. Some forum has to be there wherein they are heard. The Prabhupada says Guhyam Akyati Pruchati means an experienced devotee speaks and a less experienced devotee hears from him. So that kind of regular Krishna Katha goes on and people attend it, people hear, then all their problems will be solved generally. But still, to the degree Krishna Katha is less, to that degree people will have so many things to say and their issues. So we should make ourselves approachable also. That is a characteristic of an ideal leader also. That is approachable by people who are dependent on him. A responsible monarchy is better than a so-called democratic government in which no one is responsible to mitigate the grievances of the citizens. So there is democracy in one sense in ISKCON. We have committees, we have many members in any committee, but in one sense monarchy is also required. An individual devotee training few or guiding few should hear them, and they should be heard, and whatever the needs we have to provide them, that should be taken care of. So here he was like that, King Prutu. Next, King Prutu was greater than the greatest soul and was therefore worshipable by everyone. He performed many glorious activities in ruling over the surface of the world and was always magnanimous. After achieving such great success and a reputation which spread throughout the universe, he at last obtained the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada in purport says, a responsible king or chief executive has many responsible duties to attend to in ruling over the citizens. The most important duty of the monarch or the government is to perform various sacrifices as enjoined in the Vedic literatures. The next duty of the king is to see that every citizen executes the prescribed duties for his particular community. And so various sacrifices to be performed. We see in the Bharat Maharaj performing sacrifices. Then we see Rishabh Dev also in the Brahmavati area. Then he instructed his sons also there. Likewise, Amrish Maharaj performing Vrata, Ekadashi Vrat for 1 full year. And then in Madhuvan, Durvasa Muni comes, etc. So every king would have this yagya or things like that, basically for glorification of God. So ours is Sankirtan Yagya. So all leaders should make sure that we are having continuous Sankirtan in temple and outside, and all our followers are with us. They are participating in that, and all the problems will be solved just by having Krishna in center. Otherwise, to the degree Shravanam Kirtanam reduces in the followers and the leaders, to that degree problems will arise, and the problems will be more or less unsolvable. They will be ever expanding. So His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj says the highest exhibition of love between one living entity and the other is expressed when they come together, dance while chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So one should ensure that we ourselves attend entire morning program and all our followers are also attending. As this Grace Adishamru says, visible presence in the morning program should be visibly present, not hiding somewhere. And then when asked, where were you? Then we say, oh, I was there. I just went here, and not like that. Visibly present, right in front, not to show off, but to gain the grace of the Supreme Lord and also devotees. So sacrifice, obviously Sankirtan sacrifice, and then every citizen executes his prescribed duties. So we also have our daily duties, all of us, as per our so-called Varna and Ashram, Devi Varnashram, according to Guru's order. Morning you may be doing Pujari service as a Brahmin, daytime you may do management as a Kshatriya, and then evening you may go out for fund collection like a Vaishya, and night time you may do mopping, sweeping like a Shudra. So anything is fine as given by the Guru. That is called a Devi Varnashram. So the king's duty is to see that everyone perfectly executes the duties prescribed for the Varna and Ashram divisions of society. So we should also have that. We should make sure every devotee gets services as per his whatever swabhav in one sense, and so that they do it very nicely. Where there are crises, then we may give any service to anyone. But over a period of time, when the community settles nicely, then as per their traits, as per their trends, as per their subtle body makeup, psychophysical nature, we could give also services. So that the best outcome is there, the devotee is happy also. Anyway, those who are very surrendered, they will do anything and everything. Then Prabhupada in the next paragraph talks about Parampadam. Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, all can discharge their respective duties perfectly and thus at the ultimate end of life be promoted to the transcendental world, which is called Parampadam. Parampadam of the Vaikuntha planets can be achieved only by devotional service. And Prabhupada talks about Vrajakrishna Parampadam, that the impersonalists, they go to Brahma Jyoti, but because they don't take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, rather they insult or they disrespect the lotus feet of the Lord. So they don't get any position. Like a satellite, if it doesn't get any orbital, any orbit of any planet, then it just falls back on the earth. So likewise, if one doesn't get settled in that supreme destination of Vaikuntha, he falls down. So that is the discussion. Next, Sutta Goswami continued, O Shaunak, leader of the great sages, after hearing Maitreya speak about the various activities of King Prithu, the original king, who was fully qualified, glorified, and widely praised all over the world, Vidura, the great devotee, very submissively worshipped Maitreya Rishi and asked him the following question. Maitreya Muni informed Vidura about King Prithu. Now Vidur has some inquiry. He asks, my dear Brahman Maitreya, it is very enlightening to understand that King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and Brahmins. All the demigods presented him with innumerable gifts, and he also expanded his influence upon personally receiving strength from Lord Vishnu. Thus, he greatly developed the earth. Now, his some functions, his activities are described. In purport, Prabhupada says, because Prithu Maharaj was an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu and was naturally a great Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, all the demigods were pleased with him and presented different gifts to help him in exercising his royal power, and the great sages and saintly persons also joined in his coronation. We find whenever Lord appears, the demigods come and glorify him. That prayers to the Lord in the womb, second chapter of 10th canto, when Devaki mother was pregnant, even in the prison cell. Similarly, when Mother Sachi was pregnant with Vishwambar or Lord Chaitanya, so then also demigods come and they offer praise. And when Lord appears also, like Vamandev appeared, then so many demigods came. Then somebody gifted Janayu, somebody gifted Danda, somebody gifted Kamandalu, somebody gave deer skin. So demigods are always there as servants of the Lord, providing all the facilities. Likewise, anybody who carries the Lord in his heart, he also is worshipable by demigods. He is also assisted by the demigods. As demigods feel it's a great pleasure to assist such a person. Certainly, in the sadhaka stage, demigods may test us by putting so many alluring objects in front of us. But if you pass the test and prove ourselves to be unalloyed devotees of the Lord, The demigods take help. They assist us in our services. They'll be happy to help you. His Holiness Jagata Goswami Maharaj writes in Vaishnav K book that when devotee very sincerely practices Krishna consciousness and says no to Maya, all her proposals, then ultimately Maya Devi kind of salutes him and says, "My dear devotee, you are free from my clutches, and thank you also." So then demigods will be there to help us. If you have pure motive, they will be helpful. But in otherwise, if you have impure motives, like some sages have, then Indra will create so much of disturbance. They will put some Devi in front of you to allure you. Regardless of whether the chief executive is king or president, or whether the government is monarchical or democratic, this process is so perfect that if it is followed, everyone will be become happy, and thus it will be very easy for all to execute devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God. So whatever the case, devotional service should be practiced. 10th, Prithu Maharaj was so great in his activities and magnanimous in his method of ruling that all the kings and demigods on the various planets still follow in his footsteps. Who is there who will not try to hear about his glorious activities? I wish to hear more and more about Prithu Maharaj because his activities are so pious and auspicious. Vidurji is inquiring, so eager to hear. So likewise, we should be eager to hear about pure devotees. We should not be eager to hear about mundane personalities. When Maya enters in our consciousness, then we are eager to hear about worldly famous people. Some kings, some politicians, some Bollywood, Hollywood hero, heroines, uh, sports stars. One should not have such garbage entering in a heart. Rather, we should be eager to hear about the Supreme Personal Godhead and his pure devotees. That's why Bhagavatam is such a pristine, pure literature. All the devoted kings, they have appeared in these pages. So we should read Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Seva. In the purport, Prabhupada says, no one cares to hear about Prithu Maharaj or to follow in his footsteps. Unfortunately, at the present moment, no one cares to hear about it. Therefore, no nation in the world is either happy or progressive in spiritual understanding, although that is the sole aim and objective of human life. In those days, that time people were so eager to hear about him. As Viduji is saying, who will not be eager? But unfortunately, Prabhupada is telling how in the current scenario, people are not eager to hear. Next, 11th. So now 11th to 20th, as we said in the morning, the beauty of Prithu Maharaj is described as well as his ruling. 11th says, the great saintly sage Maitreya told Vidura, my dear Vidura, King Prithu lived in the tract of land between the two great rivers, Ganges and Yamuna. Because he was very opulent, it appeared that he was enjoying his destined fortune in order to diminish the results of his past pious activities. So for devotees as well as Lord, it is said there is no prarabdha karma also. Yeah, that kind of discussion is there. But still, he thought, let me exhaust my pious activities by accepting whatever is there. Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti majam is quoted from Brahma Samhita. Just like a seed is taken, put on frying pan, hot frying pan, roasted, its germinating ability is destroyed. Likewise, when one engages himself in devotional activities, all other bijas get burnt out. They will not fructify. If you want, you can read 152nd verse of the 19th chapter of Madhya Lila, Rupa Shiksha, instructions to Rupa Goswami by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Recently, I was in Vijayawada. I took, they gave me choice of verse, so I took this verse. It's very powerful in the purport. His Prabhupada says there are karma bijas, jnana bijas, and also there are political, social, and philanthropic bijas. So I discussed elaborately there. Here we don't have time, but all these bijas will be burned if you practice pure devotional service. Karma bija, fruity mentality. As sadhakas also we have it because we associate with materialistic people. Similarly, jnana bijas are also there. Tendency or aspiration for liberation. We want to get rid of some services. We are frustrated with some services. Oh, just one more month and this service. So this is a Gyan beach in us. Some Gyanis association we have taken some. So, and we are not taking association of pure devotee. That's why we are feeling frustrated in our life. One devotee there or some, he asked me, but what about senior devotees, who gave up some services never to take them again like that. So do they have Gyan Bija? I said no. You have to ask them only what was the reason for their giving up that service. Not necessarily not this Gyan Bij, but basically sometimes there are a lot of offenses in devotee circle at the senior level. So they don't want to be in such a kind of scenario. So that's why they take off. Not that they don't want the service. They don't want the offenses that are there in that service. He says for devotees the result, and then anyway we know social within ISKCON also that social status or grahasthas in their companies, colleagues and all that, all varieties of competition there, they may get influenced by that, or even within devotee community, because many devotees in ISKCON are educated from metropolitan cities. So there is kind of some social pressure, material pressure within spiritual organization like ISKCON, and then oh that devotee has a better car than me, and he takes brahmacharis in that, so maybe I should also have car. I'll work hard, earn more, and have a better car. So this kind of social bejas, then philanthropic bejas, some welfare work. One particular devotee, yeah, just giving free grains to brahmanas and all that. We have ISKCON brahmanas, ISKCON temple. We can give in ISKCON temple also. We are having a lot of social, spiritual, philanthropic work. We are giving free prasadam distribution. We are having so many other activities, isn't it? We conduct Ratha Yatras, Janmashtami, festivals. So for ISKCON, one should contribute, not just keep finding out who are the brahmanas in society and give them some grains or something. That is not it. Somebody comes to your house, you may give as a grahastha. But otherwise, in ISKCON only lot of otherwise these philanthropic visas are there, social visas and political visas also, political tendencies. So they all should be burnt. For devotees, the results of past pious and impious activities are nullified by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada towards the end says, Sanatana Goswami, by the evidence of Shastra, Sanatana Goswami detected Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be a direct incarnation of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Lord Chaitanya never disclosed the fact, it is therefore generally recommended that the Acharya or Guru should not be accepted as an ordinary man. That sloka says, Acharya Mam Vijaniyam na avamanyeta parijit. 11th canto, Krishna is telling Uddhav that no Acharya to be myself, and that's why I never disrespect him. And then he says, na martya buddhi asuyeta. Out of envy, don't be, due to mundane human mentality, don't be envious of an Acharya. Sarva Deva Mayodev. He is reservoir of all the demigods. Worship him. No need to separately worship all the demigods. Then 12th verse we discussed in the morning, assuming that all were present. So we'll directly go to 13th verse. 12th verse talks about he carrying scepter, and then no one could disobey his irrevocable orders, etc. But he spared means Brahmanas and Vaishnavas were never to be ruled by him because they are already following the laws of Supreme Lord. Abhimanyu, could you put it off, that mobile? 13th. Once upon a time, King Prithu initiated the performance of a very great sacrifice in which great saintly sages, Brahmins, demigods from higher planetary systems, and great saintly kings known as Rajarshis all assembled together. It is the duty of the kings to keep performing some kind of spiritual activities for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. So here he has initiated a process, a particular yajna. In the purport, Prabhupada says how interplanetary travels were happening in earlier ages, how the demigods and others have come from upper planetary system, higher planets, Swargaloka, etc., to Earth, where this Prithvi Maharaj is performing yajna. And also devotees like Arjun Yudhishthir, they also went to Kubera's planet, and they stayed there for some 4 years or so. Their 13 years of exile, 12 years. Arjun also went to heavenly planets. He resided with his father. and many other activities that is there. Thus, there was interplanetary communication via suitable airplanes and space vehicles. So this is to prove that modern day inventions of planes and satellites, etc., is not something new, great creation of man, human being. Technology was much more developed in earlier times than now. Now technology is creating headache only or destruction, weapons of mass destruction. But in earlier ages, the technology was so well developed. There were no side effects, and it was so fast. Mantra chanting, and then planes would fly. In that great assembly, Maharaj Prithu first of all worshipped all the respectable visitors according to their respective positions. After this, stood up in the midst of the assembly, and it appeared that the full moon had arisen amongst the stars. So Bhagavatam has a lot of things. A to Z, you might have seen one poster. So poetry is there, and such kind of similes and metaphors, all these kind of things. So analogy is given. The full moon arising among the stars. Likewise, Prithu Maharaj was appearing among all those guest visitors, etc. According to Vedic system, the reception of great exalted personalities as arranged by Prithu Maharaj in that great sacrificial arena is very important. The first procedure in receiving guests is to wash their feet. And it is learned from Vedic literature that one time when Maharaj Yudhishthira performed Rashtriya Yajna, Krishna personally took charge of this seva. So this is important. Prithu Maharaj also arranged for the proper reception of the demigods, the saintly sages, the Brahmins, and the great king. Any ceremony you have and you host it, it is your responsibility to receive the guests. Either you personally be there or you arrange some of your close, what you call, friends or relatives who will do that. Recently, our that Venkat Govind Prabhu, yesterday he told me when he saw that there was opening of Kolhapur ISKCON temple, Shri Radha Madhav, I think. So then His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu, I think he was the top person. So he invited so many devotees, and many senior devotees came, he was saying, from Mumbai particularly. And such high class reception was there. The moment you reach in Kolhapur, wherever you are, from there immediately the devotee is ready, the car or vehicle or the driver, and wherever you want them to take you, all very high class arrangement. You can hear from him better because he was the one. I never went there, but so I was telling yes, because they are famous for guest reception, and especially Jonas Radhan Swami Maharaj talks so much about it. So how will they fail in guest reception? If they only fail, it will not be proper. So it was very high class guest reception. He describes it 10 mouths. So we should also take care of this thing. Otherwise, impersonalism is not good. As Radha Swami Maharaj says, we are very highly personalist in our philosophy and very impersonal in our dealings. So that should not happen. King Prithu's body was tall and sturdy. Now his description of his bodily beauty. And his complexion was fair. His arms were full and broad, and his eyes as bright as the rising sun. His nose was straight, his face very beautiful, and his personality grave. His teeth were set beautifully in his smiling face. So Prabhupada says in the 4 Varnas, Kshatriyas have very beautiful bodily features. It is to be concluded not only were Maharaj Prithu's bodily features attractive as described here, but he had specific all auspicious signs in his bodily construction. So to the degree full manifestation of godhoodness, to that degree there will be signs also. Like Krishna has full, some 19 signs. Likewise, other incarnations will have few, 2, 5, 10, depending on the thing, and that will be, the greatness will be proved. Face is the index of the mind. One's mental constitution is exhibited by facial features. The bodily features of a particular person are exhibited in accordance with his past deeds, or according to one's past deeds, his next bodily features, whether in human society, animal society, or demigod society, are determined. So that morning we were discussing Karanam Guna Samrasya Sadasa Joni Janmasu. If one has been associating with the mode of goodness, he will get good birth of a cow, very beautiful, graceful, quiet. She doesn't disturb the society, rather serve the society in so many different ways. Or human birth, as a gentleman or gentlewoman. So these are all the reasons for associating with the mode of goodness. Those who associate with the mode of passion and ignorance, accordingly they will get somewhat lower births. So Sad Asad Yoni Janmasu, one's birth, and within that birth also the bodily features, the intelligence, and all those things. Janma Ishwarya Shruta Shrivi of high quality if they have been associating with the mode of goodness. And similarly in spiritual life also somebody has been practicing, then Shuchinam Srimatam Gene, the birth in good family with good features, all nice qualities that will be present. So because his description of bodily beauty is given, so accordingly Prabhupada's purport is talking about that. 16. The chest of Maharaj Prabhu was very broad, his waist was very thick, and his abdomen, wrinkled by lines of skin, resembled in construction a leaf of a banyan tree. His navel was coiled and deep, his thighs were of golden hue, and his instep was arched. All these features matter. If you read Puranas, you will find so many description of women and men. Women are that what the names are also there, Padmini, and like that. So Padmini woman means, so there are many descriptions. I don't know exactly, but I have read such descriptions in Purana. A lot of such description. What will be her bodily features, her eyes and mole where it is present, and some small hair sometimes here and there. Such descriptions are there. Similarly, this instep means this arch is formed when we walk. So this portion of our leg, the whole sole does not touch the ground. That's why our chappals also you'll find, shoes also, they will have ups and downs, so that as per your feet, ups and downs of your feet accordingly are the chappals, etc. So this instep matters also when they go to see a girl traditionally. So she will bring some tea or whatever, something. So they will watch her feet, her toes, her instep. How much is that? Whether these fingers also, whether this finger is how much tall, and all these things, everything has a science. All these things matter a lot. Recently, I had one DMIT just performed on myself because devotees have again 3,000 rupees it costs because we are brahmacharis, so freely. It is multiple intelligence test, MIT, DMIT. D is for dermo physics, something like that. So these all the signs, they will take your fingerprints on a machine like this, and like this, and this one, this way, and this way, like this way, like that for all 10 fingers. 5 minutes test is over, and then they'll tell you how many neurons are there in your brain. There are lobes in our brain. We have seen brain, and accordingly, which intelligence is well developed in you: interpersonal, intrapersonal, musical intelligence, logical, mathematical intelligence, spatial, visual intelligence, naturalistic intelligence, 8 types kinesthetic intelligence, 8 types of intelligences are there. And accordingly, your traits are there. Accordingly, many things are there. Which stream you should choose, science, arts, or commerce? It's in the professional world, they use a lot. Similarly, in the career also, after passing out, which job is suitable for you? So a lot of things get decided. So these are all powerful sciences. All these things, all of you have it. Mm, Like this kind of green. That means that person will have a lot of wealth, even if he's a brahmachari. Wheat-like structure in your thumb, if you have it. mm, This is another science. Another science. Varieties of science. Jyotish is also there. Astrological science. Huh? Which one? For me, interpersonal intelligence is highest. Apart from what is that? Linguistic also, and that is also there. Musical also. So interpersonal, which just means they'll be very interesting. And book distribution means cut. So that devotee was telling me, any person you meet within few minutes or so, you'll be very friendly with him. I said, yeah, that I already is there. That is how book distribution happens. If you are very reserved, then you can never distribute books. You have to be outgoing and you have to make friends with everyone. So anyway, you should know this. Next, 17th. The black slick hair on his head was very fine and curly, and his neck, like a conch shell, was decorated with auspicious lines. He wore a very valuable dhoti, and there was a nice wrapper on the upper part of his body. So the neck of Mahabhagavats is shorter. Some parts of their body are shorter, some are broad. The forehead is broad, like that. Chest is broad, and then the reddish pinkishness in the eyes, in the lips, and that's why women many times apply lipstick and red or pink, whatever, because naturally the lips should be reddish, but unfortunately because of all what we eat, God knows, nonsense, inorganic and now proper nutrition, so that's why the lips are not naturally reddish, so they keep applying lipstick and all this crazy thing. But for Mahabhagavats, Mahapurushas, naturally it is there. If you read Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 32 symptoms of a Mahabhagavad, Mahapurusha. So hand should reach to the knees, not while sitting, while standing. That is called Ajanu Lambita Bhuja. That is one thing. Then chest should be broad, breast, and many the symptoms are described. So three things are grave. The navel should be grave, should be deep. Voice should be deep, grave, and existence should also be grave. Mahapurushas, Lakshana. Like that, many symptoms are there. So he's what is written? Uh, they were decorated with auspicious lines. The neck like a conch shell. The lines are there. For Radharani also, such descriptions are there in the scriptures. As Maharaj Prithu was being initiated to perform the sacrifice, he had to leave aside his valuable dress, and therefore his natural bodily beauty was visible. It was very pleasing to see him put on a black deerskin and wear a ring of kusha grass on his finger, for this increased the natural beauty of his body. It appears that Maharaj Prithu observed all the regulatory principles before he performed the sacrifice. So though this, I think at the end of that sacrifice, the four sages came, four Kumaras. So you find here him wearing black deerskin. So the deerskin will not be like full kurta or whatever. So a lot of parts of the body, upper part of the body, is exposed, and that way the beautiful features of his body are visible to all, which are generally covered because of the armor and royal dress, silk kurta or whatever it is. So now they were visible. Hmm? Yeah, dhoti only there. All kings were wearing dhoti only. Huh? Kumaras. Yeah, what else they will wear? Underwear. Achha, okay. Okay, okay, that way, naked always. Maybe after that, Vaikuntha, I think. They might have felt, yeah, this fellow did not allow us in Vaikuntha. So, okay. At least dhoti will wear. Change of uniform from primary to secondary school. Upgraded. 19th. Yes. In Adi Leela, somewhere in 13th, 14th, or 15th chapter. If you just type Mahapurush, you will get it. 32 symptoms like that. Yeah, they are born with them. No, not that we don't see that. We don't hear about it, but that description might not have been given. But for Mahaprabhu, it is given very clearly in Adi Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that may not be necessarily always there. Nagrotha Parimandal, it is called, like a banyan tree. It's very broad, like that. So not necessarily everybody has to have. I don't know about Acharyas, but at least Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has it. 14th chapter was coming. They had. Yes. Others may not be necessarily described that way. That may be there. Like proper disciples always talk about proper pinkish lotus feet. They're very soft. So many devotees have told that when we touched it, it was like touching butter only. So descriptions are there, may not be necessarily in all those terms. 19th. Just to encourage the members of the assembly and to enhance their pleasure, King Prutu glanced over them with eyes that seemed like stars in the sky wet with dew. He then spoke to them in a great voice.
Or is it mentioned that they are visible when Vrajakrishna is traveling?
That I have not heard, but no need to worry so much. They have proved already by their actions how great they are. So we don't have to worry. If you have few of them, cherish them and don't be proud, as it was told in that fifth verse. 20th, last. Maharaj Prutu's speech was very beautiful, full of metaphorical language, clearly understandable and very pleasing to hear. His words were all grave and certain. It appears that when he spoke, he expressed his personal realization of the absolute truth in order to benefit all who were present. This is the verse for tomorrow. I'm supposed to give Bhagavatam tomorrow on this verse. So we'll discuss tomorrow about speech. Any question?
Morning class. Morning, I think ideally, how we are supposed to start Vaishnava, whatever is possible, one should try. So, give an example of we have so much faith on Krishna but nowadays, if you see, like many times, people have no such faith, and sometimes they get cheated by some these so-called sadhus who are not actually properly Vaishnava, and then eventually they go behind bars and things like that. So, can we say that when we are like in a movement like this, then we should use our intelligence to identify the genuine Vaishnava and at least not serve them for begging?
Yeah. Any other?
So you told demigods, they don't trouble those who have pure intentions. Tomorrow also had a pure intention. Perform sacrifice to one for a part. Very interval. If you have no intention.
I told you earlier that demigods will test one first, and they will put alluring objects in front of them. But once one passes the test, then they will not obstruct. Then they will be always assisting. For that matter, I think for Rishabdev also it is said that Indra was not giving rains only. Rishabdev only, no? Or somebody. Bharat. Rishabdev. So then he only arranged, huh? Rishabdev. So he only arranged water to rain like that. Because he's the supreme person got it. What's the problem? He's not dependent on either. Krishna, for that matter, he lifted over. Any other? Online, how to see? Something is there in chat. Chat only, no? All about audio only. Yes. Any other question? Should we end? Sundarshyam Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
People, thank you.